Everybody, thank you for coming in today. Appreciate you very much, Sherry, for doing this interview. I would like everybody to give a warm welcome to our special guest today, Sherry Pluskota, aka Peaches. She's a huge part of the poker community and Twitter spaces, and she's been doing a lot of great things. We're going to talk to her about what she's been doing, what she's got going on, where she's been from, where she's from, and we're going to get to know a little bit more about Sherry today. Again, warm welcome, Sherry Pluskota. Appreciate you being here. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for having me and thanks for asking me. I appreciate you. And we always have a passionate conversation when it comes to poker. So I enjoy when we get those conversations going.
Definitely, definitely. So before we get into everything that's happening right now, what's going on, what I like to do in these interviews is really kind of like to really just go back to the beginning and like who is Sherry, where are you from, and just kind of get to know a little bit more about you, and then we'll kind of transition into how you got into poker and what's going on and so forth. So, who are you? Where are you from? Tell us.
Originally from Chicago. And the last time I lived there, it was 24 below zero wind chill factors on Christmas Eve. And that was in 86. And we moved to Georgia in 87 and have been there ever since. It's been a great place to raise my three kids. And I got involved in poker at the encouragement of my sons. Um, and yeah, so in Georgia a long time.
That's cool. That's cool. I'll tell you, I've always lived in Arizona and California, and I'm freezing cold at like 65 degrees. So I couldn't fathom living in Chicago, dealing with the snow, so on and so forth. That'd be crazy.
Well, and it isn't until you move away from it that you realize how many hours a day you spend on weather related things like shoveling a sidewalk or brushing off your car and defrosting the windows so you can pull it out of the driveway. Oh, wait, you got to shovel the driveway. And, the traffic jams because, the roads are covered with snow or ice and you're going slower. And, until you move away, do you realize how much of your day in the winter is on those kind of things? And then suddenly you're walking around Georgia on Christmas Eve and it's 70 and you're in a pair of shorts and you're walking the buggy down the street without a jacket on, and
Right,
then you're like,
right.
remember those days?
That's great. Yeah, funny fun fact about me. I've been to the mountains, I've been to the snow and stuff like that. But I have honestly never in my life ever seen it snowing. Isn't that weird? Isn't that crazy?
Oh, and that's my favorite. I love snow. I just don't want to live where it's cold.
Right, right.
So I literally can sit in a window and watch snowfall for hours. Wouldn't bother me a bit.
Yeah.
Oh, I love snow.
So kind of a fun thing, a fun fact about me.
We got
But
to get you some snow.
I know, right? That's the product of living here in the Southwest.
Sure.
We do have snow like up north here in Flagstaff in Arizona, and then we had. I used to live in Southern California, so there's like Big Bear. So there, I mean, there was
Right.
chances for me. Like I said, I've been in the mountains, but I just never seen it snowing.
Got to get you there.
So you're in Georgia,
I am.
and obviously I know a little bit about the story, but I want you to tell the story. People call you Peaches. You're in Georgia. How does that? Tell us about that.
Well, I sell Georgia peaches during the summertime.
Very
And
cool.
so I am known as Peaches or the Peach Lady. And of course, that carried over to my poker world because some of my customers I play poker with. And so it's just been a nickname that I've had for several years.
That's cool. Do you and I feel like somebody asked and you said it was kind of problematic, but do you sell out like out of the state or anything like that, or is it just
It is
local?
very problematic.
Yeah.
Peach is one of those fruits that if you put it in a closed container, it's going to speed up the ripening. And so they do not travel well. They have to be in refrigeration to travel and open um, or containers that are like have holes so air can circulate and not and the gases cannot build in that container. So they don't travel well. As a matter of fact, if I'm going somewhere during the summer, everybody wants me to bring peaches, of course.
Right.
And so if I'm driving somewhere, it's a little bit easier, but not much. And the fact that I'm in an air conditioned car, I can take some cases with me. However, if it's an overnight where I have to stop at a hotel, maybe halfway there, I have to take all those cases of peaches I have with me into the hotel. So then it's loading, unloading, and the boxes are 25 pounds each. So it's,
Yeah, it's heavy.
can be a
Yeah.
taunting task, but I have done it. I take peaches with me when I go to Florida. I sent peaches up to our friend Todd Rizzo,
Oh, that's
and
cool.
he's a police officer. His station. I sent him a couple of cases last summer, as well as a friend of mine in Ohio. Her son is a firefighter. I sent some
That's
cases
awesome.
of peaches up there for the fire station. So, and I happened to have a friend going up there at the time, and I was like, "Hey, can you take some
That's
peaches?" And
crazy cool. That's super
so
cool.
yeah, it was pretty cool. They were pretty happy to get those peaches for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think, yeah, I don't know. I mean, you'd say refrigeration with open container. I'm trying to think, like, what kind of container would allow you to basically travel, like, on a plane, like, that would.
Well, I'm going to tell you what I did one time. Because of course everybody wants me to bring peaches, Georgia peaches. So I decided one time when I was going to the WSOP, I was going to take one of the half bushels, which is a 25-pound box of fresh peaches, and put it on my in my carry-on. And
Wow.
so when my carry-on went to the x-ray machine, you can imagine the laughter
Yeah.
that that came, that started, and everybody just thought it was funny. I had 25 pounds of peaches in my carry-on.
That's
The
funny.
mistake I made was when I put it in the overhead bin. I think if I would have unzipped my carry-on and
Uh,
lifted it up a little bit so air could circulate, they may have made it to Vegas. But unfortunately, by the time I got there and to my hotel, I opened that carry on
never.
and every one of them was overripe. Now,
Wow.
I enjoyed them because they were deliciously sweet, overripe, but I couldn't give them away, right?
Right.
So it was unfortunate that didn't work. The
That's
only
crazy.
thing I can think of is I could carry like a basket with peaches
Yeah,
in it.
that would make sense.
I'll bring them that way because they would be open in an open container, so to speak. But even then, how many peaches am I going to be able to bring like that?
Right,
10,
right,
15?
right.
Um, yeah. So I have thought about, maybe one summer I'll drive to Vegas and make it a road trip and have some fun. And I thought I had a friend that I was going to do that with, but plans changed. And if I did, I definitely would bring like 6 or 10 cases of peaches. And it would be the tale of peaches crossing, right? On more levels than one. But yeah, they don't travel well. Sorry.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's cool. Very cool story. Um, so now let's talk. Let's kind of get into the beginnings of your poker story. Like, what got you into poker at the very early stages? How did you get into the game? And why do you have such a
Um,
passion for it?
I grew up playing cards. My brother, sister, and my best friend that lived across the street literally played cards every day during the winter. What else is there to do?
Right.
And we played games like Pinochle and Canasta and Spades, which we were young. I think I started playing those games. I was under the age of 10 when we first started. And so I love to play cards. I love to play board games. If you said, let's go play, I know people probably don't know what jacks are. If you said to me, let's go play jacks or go fish, I would say, I'm in. I just love to play games. And so I had to move my mom in with us. She was not doing well. And several months into her being with us, my two sons came to me and said, "Hey, we would love to teach you how to play poker so you can go with us. They have bar leagues,
Love it.
and Applebee's has a bar league, and we would love for you to go with us." So I was like, cool. So we sit down and they give me like a 15-minute lesson. And the next thing I know, my youngest son gets up and says, "Okay, let's go." And I said,
I'm still in the
"Where are we
tournament.
going?" They said, "We're going to Applebee's to play poker." And I was like, I panicked because I was like, I don't know what the button is. Who's the first at, like I don't know when it's going to be my turn. When do I put the
Right.
bed in, the blinds in, blah, blah. I was in a panic. And they're
Right.
like, trust us, it's going to be okay. It's just free poker and blah, blah, blah. So I made them write out a cheat sheet for me because I
Okay.
didn't know the order of
Right.
winning hands, right?
Right.
So I show up at this poker game at Applebee's with a cheat sheet, sit down, and of course I'm referring to it all the time because I literally have no clue what I'm
Right.
doing.
Right.
And I'm nervous and I keep watching the button and I'm like, I'm trying to watch the order of play and trying to catch on to what everybody's doing with betting and literally I had no clue. And we kept playing and I was in hands and I just kind of laughing. People saw I had the cheat sheet and they were like, why do you have that? I'm like, well, I've never played before. And they're like, there's no way you've never played because you keep winning chips. And I was like, no, I promise. I literally have never played till today. And so I ended up getting to the final table. And some of those people were actually mad because they thought I was lying that I had played before. And I was
You're
like doing an
pretending.
angle or something. And until one of them talked to one of my sons and he's like, no, she literally just learned 15 minutes before we got here. And it was like it was the monster was born. I
That's
would
great.
all I could do is want to play. And so I signed up for Zynga Poker Online and I literally played hours and hours online and hours, probably a year, maybe even 18 months.
Hmm.
And I was killing it. I probably had all the chips on the Zynga site. I mean, I literally was building Zynga poker. But more importantly, I was building friendships. Like
That's
I
cool.
still have friends today that I met playing Zynga poker
That's
over a
crazy.
right.
That's crazy. So how
Fun.
long ago was that when you first signed up on Zynga and
Let's
the
see.
bar league tournament that you're referring to?
I want to say 2011, maybe.
ASG says Sherry's using charts before it was cool.
You're right. I was disqualified.
The- Gosh, there's a tournament. I think it was a WPT tournament where, if I could think about it for a little bit, I'll think of his name. I think his name is Phil also. But Phil Hellmuth, the guy's got the hand rankings at the table, and
Right.
he's got like quads or he's got a full house, and the action's on him, and he's like, hold on, he pulls out his hand sheet, his hand rankings. He says, I think I should call. I call, and it's funny. It just made me think about that.
I have a little story, something like that, if you want to hear it, which
Yeah,
is
go for it.
really kind of comical. I went to I went to Atlantic City with a friend. I got a free junket. I called her. I said, "You want to go?" She'd never been. Yes. Okay. Well, her husband made her promise to sit with me at a cash game because he loves to play cash and he wants her to play so they can play together. So she promised him she would play cash with me.
That's great.
We sit down at this cash table at it was Harris, uh, Atlantic City, and I start well, there was a mix up with the seats. It was a new table, whatever. So I moved over because this guy said he had the seats or problem. So I move over. I said, just keep it warm until I take your chips and then I'll get it back. Some smart ass remark. Okay. And so we just start joking around. Well, within the first half hour, 45 minutes, I had the guys at that table believing that I had been going upstairs to the third floor for poker lessons for the last week and that I was trying out all these things my coach was telling me to do. And before I would make a move, I would be like, I think it's chapter 2 was telling me that I need to call here. Or I think it was chapter 7 that told me I had to raise here. I mean, and they believed it hook, line, and sinker.
Oh my
It
god, that's
was
great.
so funny. The dealer was like, wait, what floor is that on? Who are you taking lessons from? And I was trying to give him the like, be quiet, be quiet. This is a scam kind of. I'm just joking with these guys. And at first, I just made like a flip and a remark like this is my first time or something. And then I noticed that they were believing my bullshit. And so I just kept getting more extravagant.
That's
My
funny.
girlfriend next to me
That is
was
hilarious.
like, I'm like, be quiet, be quiet. She was laughing. And I was like, I cannot, I would whisper to her, I can't believe they're believing this. I'm
That
just going to
is
keep making it like crazier and crazier till they catch up. They never caught on. They absolutely never caught on. And I was saying the craziest stuff. And they were like, oh my God. One guy is like, hey, can I have the name of that coach that you're with?
that's great.
Here's the thing. I stacked all of them. They're
Wow.
chip stacks. A couple of them I stacked them a couple of times, and they still thought it was my first time ever playing
That's
cash.
crazy.
It's like, dudes, like
Come on.
read the tape. There's no way I'm taking your stacks over and over again, and I'm a newbie. Come on.
Right, right. That's great. That is funny. That's a good story.
It was hilarious. I wish I would have been videoing that whole thing. It was what TV is made of. I promise you.
So do you mostly these days? Do you mostly play cash or tourneys? Which do you prefer?
I'm kind of in a unique situation because I live in Georgia, so we don't have legalized poker or gambling in our state. And allegedly there's home games, but I don't know much about that.
Right.
But I will tell you that a couple of years ago, I made the conscious decision to focus on tournaments because I was kind of burning the candle at both ends. Like when I would go to Vegas, they would have promos where you could earn hours playing cash to do their free rolls. So I would literally be at a cash game at 5 or 6 in the morning, playing it until the late afternoon, early evening, then go play a tournament and rinse and repeat at midnight, right? And so I finally said, there's no reason to do this, and it's not good poker. It's never going to be good poker for your tournaments doing that
Right,
kind of
right,
thing.
right, right, right.
And so I consciously made the decision to focus on tournaments, which I have, and I've been dabbling a little bit back at the cash tables, and I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed it.
I'll say the same. I've said this in the past too. Like I come from a cash background myself, and I consider myself a newbie in the tournament world. I've been playing. Right before COVID, I started playing a little bit, and then COVID happened. I didn't really play any cards at all for 2 years, and then just dove into tournaments exclusively.
Right.
Right before COVID, when I was doing both, it was just very muddy, and I could feel it. I was playing tournaments like I should be playing cash. I was playing cash games like I should be playing tournaments, and it was just messy.
Well, and
So
it's
yeah,
funny you said that because I want to say November of 2023. It may have been 2022, but I think it was 20. No, I think it was 2022. I was in Washington State, and I had sat down at the cash gate. And when I got up, I had gotten my ass handed to me. And when I was driving home, I was like, you know what? You just played that cash game like a tournament. And you
right,
can't. There were two
right,
different beasts. And
one
I
hundred
had
percent.
never caught myself doing that before. I was always able to sit down at a cash game and separate, you know, the way I play from a tournament. But that session, I
You can feel
absolutely
it.
played it like a tournament. And probably the next day or even later that evening, I said to myself, you know what? Next year is one of my goals in January, because I always try to plan some goals in January of every year. I'm going to just focus on
I
tournaments.
like that.
I love the challenge of all it takes to win a tournament. I love that.
Right.
I'm a competitor, and that's right up my alley to figure it out. I want to figure it out. So there you go.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. And I found when I was playing cash, as much as I was like felt like it was just clocking in and clocking out. Like it was felt more like a job tournaments. Um, it's something different about it. It's the competitiveness that is different, and I love tournaments. I'm with you on that.
I do. I really enjoy tournaments, but I'm going to tell you, I love to shit talk and mess around at a cash game.
It is a
Anybody
lot.
that's played with me in Vegas will tell you I love to just
Yeah,
shit talk and poke the beer, and I don't
yeah,
care if they poke back, as long as everybody's respectful. And
right.
so I do like cash game for that.
Most cash games, you're right, are a lot more lighthearted in terms of like table chat and stuff like that. For sure.
That's why I enjoy our meetup games so
Yeah,
much, because everybody's just having a fun time. We're stirring the pot. We're poking at each other.
Yeah, it's fun.
We want bragging rights because I want some Brad chips on my staff, and
Right.
I mean, it's just the fun of it. Come
No
on.
doubt. So I want to get to that, but I noticed you are a WPA founding member, and you also had some. You were a host on the Flophouse Radio. Tell us a little bit about those things.
Um, when I lost my mom, I was at that. Let me go back for a minute. When my mom came to live with me, I also left a job that I had a staff of 17 under me. So it was a pretty high pressure job. It was busy, it was nuts. And then I took on the role of taking care of my mom as well as my other family members. We all took care of her equally. I will always be forever grateful to my family members for taking such great care of my mom. When she passed, it was the same year my daughter got married. So my mom passed, and a couple months later, my daughter married. And after that, I was kind of lost because it was all this hoopla. And now my mom's gone, and am I going to go back to work? What does that look like? It had been 8 years. I don't know, remember what it looked like having a full time job.
Right.
Was I ready to go back? And all those things,
Right.
right? And so I went to the WSOP that year, and I actually had a schedule of 17 tournaments I was going to play
Oh
that
wow,
year.
that's cool.
And it was only like 2 weeks after my daughter's wedding. And we had yet to bury my mom. She was going to be buried in Chicago in July. So that was kind of still looming for me. But anyway, so by the time I got to the SOP, I was exhausted. And literally, I played the tag team event, and I think I played one other event. And almost 90% of the other 2 days of the 2 weeks I was there, I was sleeping in my hotel room,
No,
totally
I'm
exhausted,
sure.
right? And I may have played maybe 2 or 3 ladies events. I can't remember. Anyway, um, it wasn't the 17 that I had planned.
Right. Right.
And I just kind of took a dive in. And at that time, there was another ladies group that I was very heavily involved with. That my friend Maureen Bloklinger, I know you've
Yeah. Yeah.
met her through MySpace before
Yeah.
and seen her on Twitter.
Yeah.
She actually founded it with somebody
Oh
else.
wow.
And at that time, I was really working with both of those ladies groups, and I just went head over heels into it because it was occupying my time and my poker, right? My poker was a passion, and
Love
so
it.
what better way to occupy my time than dive into the WPA and this other group?
Love
So
it.
that's kind of how it started, I would guess to say.
I like that. And the Flophouse Radio.
Oh, Flophouse Radio. Okay, so let me backtrack for a minute. So
Okay.
the WPA started that year, and they were asking for donors to put in the seed money to start the WPA. So several of us put in seed
Oh
money to
wow.
help start the WPA. So that's where that comes from.
That's cool.
Now, on to Flophouse Radio. That came about in 2020 with COVID. So Raquel Gent and some other folks started the Flophouse Radio Show, and they were a ACR affiliate, right? And if I say the wrong terminology, I'm sorry. I'm just not an online player. So anyway,
Right.
so they ran a club under ACR,
Okay.
and they built the radio show around that club. And what they did is they started during COVID to host a game. It didn't cost anything to play. It was bragging rights until we started getting donations for prizes. And you wouldn't believe we had bracelet winners, ring winners. I mean, people were playing this free game for bragging rights because it was so fun. But what was unique about it is those of us that were hosts on the radio show, there were 5 of us when I joined. Um, we were on the radio talking, or interviewing people, like we would have personalities on and be interviewing them while we're playing the game. And we would be shit talking the people, our audience, on the radio while we're playing the
I like
game.
it.
And then they would talk back to us in the chat,
That's
right?
great.
So it was like you were really at a home game
Right, that's
because
really
we could
cool.
actually communicate with each other. We were on the radio, they were listening to us on the radio.
That is cool.
It was very cool. It was an awesome experience. We loved it. We have people begging us to start it again because they miss it. And it got to the point that we started having like keeping track of our winners. And so if you, I think it was, if you placed first or second, you moved on to the quarterly tournament, which we got prizes donated for, poker books, or Stapleton gave us I think it was a WPT maybe backpack filled with some stuff. And yeah, and honestly, bragging rights. And so it was a lot of fun. So that was Flophouse Radio. And we really ended it because people were going back to the real world to play poker. And we didn't see the
Right,
need
right, right.
anymore, honestly.
Uh, Chief U is in the chat. You met him. His name is Don. You met him at the South Point. Uh,
Yes.
he says it sounds a lot like our streams, and honestly, what you described is very much kind of like what our streams are like in a sense. But we have a camera instead, and you got people in the chat kind of and chiming in, listening to music and whatnot. And a lot of shit talking goes on in the chats, and
Right.
so it is very similar to
Very
that.
similar.
Yeah,
And I'm going to tell you, when we tried to rotate into a Twitch slash YouTube live type of situation, instead of just all of the hosts were on a Zoom call, but they were, the guests were, or players were just listening to us streaming, right?
right.
But they couldn't see our Zoom call. And when we tried to go to those other platforms, our audience really, they were digging it. They were like, we can't watch you guys because we're playing on our phones, and
Right.
then we can't hear you because we're playing, where before they listen to us on their phone and play. And so they weren't digging the change at all, I'm going to tell you.
Right.
But we loved it. Like, our audience loved it. And we did it twice a week, and it was amazing. I
That's
met
awesome.
so many people.
That's
Yeah.
cool. We have one of the streamers actually also streamed a home game. So he did like a meetup game at his house. Like, I don't know, we'll say 5 to 10 people from our community showed up at his house.
I love
They
that.
played. He had his camera all set up. They're playing, and then they take a break, and then they interact with the chat when they can. And he actually, that was another thing that one of the other streamers did. Really cool. Um,
I love that.
yeah,
I think anything you can do that's a little different than the norm, because let's face it, people are burning out on the podcast thing.
yeah,
They really are. People are just not tuning in like they used to. They may listen when they're playing, but before, they would sit down in the morning or while they're working and listen to two or three podcasts. Now they're just not. They're just not listening to podcasts.
yeah. It's tricky with poker too. Like, we're such a niche community that it's really tough, especially if you don't already have like a massive following. It's tough, but it's not impossible. I think that you touched on it earlier. If you're doing something different, if you have a passion for the game, if people get behind you, I think there's
100%.
there is still a place for it. But I know what you mean. Um, yeah, and to your WPA story, I'm sure your daughter just got married. You lost your mom. Gonna go play some poker, just kind of you know be get away, and then you play a fraction of what you've fathomed because you're so exhausted. And it's you know the body just kind of catches up, and the mind, and you're like, you got to the hotel room and you were like, that was it. Like, that was your
Honestly,
right.
it was
Just
honestly just a
relax.
release, because I
Right.
had been for months, for 5 months, because my daughter lived out of state and my son-in-law was in the service. And
Right.
so I was the wedding planner. So I was, sending pictures or videos to my daughter and asking her if she liked this, or what do you want, or send me a picture. And,
Right.
it was, so by the time I got to Vegas, I was spent,
Right.
you know, physically, mentally exhausted, emotionally, of course, exhausted.
Yeah.
And I just dove in. And, before that, my daughter was on the road. She was a professional athlete. And so I would be outside for 10 or 12 hours in 80, 90-degree weather. And I would go play poker in a nice, cool casino in the evening as a great escape.
Right.
Honestly, it was a great way to go indoors and give her some time by herself in the hotel and give me something different to do. And honestly, the first tournament I entered was at the Hollywood, or not Hollywood, the Tampa Hard Rock was the first tournament I had ever played in a card room or casino, and I won the tournament. And honestly, a monster was created.
No, that's great. Um, Salem Witch EMD. His name is Josh Ginden. You know
Hey,
Josh.
Josh.
Club WPT ambassador. He's in the chat, and he says, "Love what Brad and Sherry are contributing to the poker community. Appreciate you, my guy, and appreciate what you're doing as well.
Thank you,
You
Josh. We
truly,
appreciate you.
absolutely, truly is an ambassador to the game, and he's got a lot in the brew right now. But he's got a question for you. He says, "What is Sherry playing at the WSOP? Any chance she hosts another one of those legendary meetup games this December?" We already have the. I'll tell you what. If you're in the stream, look in the bottom right corner. I have her um, uh, flyer for the
Flyer.
meetup game. It's in the stream, bottom right corner of the stream. I will. I actually have that as my things to discuss. But before we dive into that, um, you know what? Oh, so let's do this. So we can actually go right into this. It does fit.
All right.
So you did the WPA stuff. You did Women in, or the Flophouse Radio. You have you're a Spaces host on Twitter or X now. And you're currently hosting a daily meetup show. You've done meetup games. You've really kind of taken the passion for your game, and you're really trying to do some really awesome things in my mind for the community. And honestly, is kind of the root reason why I really wanted to bring you on today is because I have personally I have a passion for the game, and I really like seeing what other people are doing, can do to build the game and build a community, and I think you're doing that. And so that's how I cross paths with you, is through Spaces, and
Right.
then meetup game happens. We'll get into that, but that's where I first met you and Josh. And but what that meetup game I went to, which one was that? That was the Aria one where we had the.
That was the very first Spaces meetup
That was the first
game.
one.
And it was at the Aria in December of 2023.
Right.
And quite honestly, I was not, it wasn't even on my radar. As a matter of fact, I said I didn't want to host the meetup game, and somebody else had stepped up and said they would do it. Because my time in Vegas, I just want to have fun. Like, I don't want to be running around organizing stuff. I just want to call Brad and say, get the gang together. We're on to South Point. Let's
Right.
go play the tournament. That's the amount of effort I want to put into anything when I'm in Vegas, right? And
Right.
so I really was telling people, make sure you have somebody. I'll help. And, I even gave them some leads of where to have a private one at home, or we could ask Sean for a MGM property. And so about a month maybe before the WP2 was going to start that year, in a space, that person asked me if I would take over because they just didn't want to do it. And of course, I see the benefit of us doing it. We've been hanging out in Spaces since
Been about
end
2 or
of
3 years. Yeah.
April, May of that year.
Yeah.
And all of us that, grew to like each other or get to know other or friends wanted to meet up in Vegas if we were going to be there. And so, how can we pass up an opportunity?
Right.
Okay, I am an organizer. Let me see what I can do. So, of course, I made a couple of phone calls, and Sean, of course, had already told us we could have it there at the Aria. And it was amazing. It was so much fun. We started the day with 4 tables. We had people from all over the globe, from different countries and different states. And, it's just a lot of fun. right? It
It
was
was
just a lot of fun.
honestly very memorable for me. Not just the meetup game, but like Sean really gave us like an all access pass to not just have tables that we could lock up. Basically, I shouldn't say lock up because they were available to the public,
Absolutely.
but he was ensure that there were four tables or whatever. But he gave us an all access pass to the Poker Ghost Studio. That was
We had a Poker Go studio tour, which was amazing.
it was.
And it was a lot of for a lot of the folks in attendance the first time they had ever been in there, so it was quite a treat for many people that showed up that day. So
Yeah.
kudos to Sean and the RES staff because they took great care of us.
Yeah, Sean McCormick, honestly, he's another person that I've come to know through Spaces. And I love the guy. I've been, let's see, I met him at that meetup game, and then I crossed paths with him like once or twice more. I think I
Well,
met
you saw him
Sasab
at
again
the
at the TDA. The
right at
TDA.
the TDA,
Yeah,
right, right.
and you could tell the guy he just fucking cares about the game. He's got a good head on his shoulder. He's funny. He's like
He's a
he's
people person,
he
right?
yeah, he's an awesome guy, and I'm really grateful that extended up the room to us that day, and
They
gave
took
us the
great care
tour.
of us.
Yeah,
And they've taken, this one that I'm going to go ahead and drop the beans.
go
June
ahead.
21st at the Bellagio at 1 p.m. We will do the fifth official meetup game. Four out of the five meetup games have been on MGM properties, and one was at the Sahara. And it was a blast. We had a great time. Unfortunately, the Sahara has closed their poker room, which I was a little disappointed to hear because they also took great care of us.
Yeah,
But how can we be, how can we beat the Bellagio? How can we beat the Aria or MGM? I mean, any poker room that welcomes us, we love it. And of course, we'll be back at the Bellagio on the 21st of June, 1 p.m. It is a 1-3 no limit cash game. But if you sit at your table and all the people at your table agree, you can change it to whatever you want to play. So
yeah,
that's where we're at with that.
yeah.
We will have some splash the pot items. We've got some great ones so far, and hopefully we'll get a few more. And we have a trophy up for grabs,
Oh, I
a
love it.
shark trophy in honor of Wolfie, who has been a big winner at two or three. I want to say three of the games.
Oh wow,
He walked away a big winner, and so I wanted to kind of pay a little homage to that. So we have
I
a
love it.
trophy, a bobblehead trophy up for
I love
grabs.
it.
Whoever is the big winner after 4 hours of play, and you got to be there from the start, is going to earn that trophy, that bobblehead trophy.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
It'll be fun.
Love the meetup games. I met so many people there that day from Spaces. Like I've met other people like through the halls or at the players party throughout the different spots. But that was the probably the one place easily I could say where it was the most concentrated. Where it was like 25 people or whatever was there. Nick Vertucci had showed up. Snoop, who's in the chat earlier, he was there. I can't even remember. Like there was so many
I mean,
people there.
Jim from Rec Poker was there, and
Yeah,
Vaughn from the Malta. She owns the Malta Poker
right,
Festival. Was in town from Malta. She came and joined us, and
right,
you had PPE, who is now a Phantom of Spaces, and
right.
also Alan Keating stopped by for a while, and that was a treat
That's
for
awesome.
the
I missed
guests.
that.
I
Yeah,
did too. I
yeah.
had to go to the WPT party just like you did. So we both missed Alan Keating, but I was so thankful he showed up that evening. And it was certainly a thrill for the folks that were there to get to meet him and play poker. Um, and I'm going to say, if anybody wants to donate to the Splash the Pot items, just reach out to me and we'll be happy to take whatever you want to give.
This is a perfect
That's for sure.
spot for me to give you a little plug. I did put it in the chat for everybody who's here. Please do me a huge favor. Do Sherry a huge favor. I put her link to Twitter or X account, and I also put a link to her YouTube channel. It is free to subscribe. Please hit that subscribe on her YouTube channel. Hit the follow on Twitter. It's free. Catch up with her meetup games that she does throughout the year on occasion, and she for the last 3 years. Josh in the chat saying he'd like to see a 6th official meetup game in December if possible.
We will definitely work on that, Josh. Absolutely. My plan right now is one in June, or at the WSOP, and one at the WT. That's what I would love to see, the rotation.
Right.
As far as me hosting them.
Right.
But I encourage everybody, please host one in your town. If you're in LA,
Right.
host one in LA. There's a lot of players there that would come. If you're in Florida, let's host another one in Florida. I'll help, whatever. You need some advice, you need some contacts, let me know. Everybody host one. They're fun. They don't take a lot of work. They do keep you busy because you do have to, make sure certain things are happening.
Right.
But they're not like, you're not doing brain surgery. You're organizing a get together, right?
100%.
So,
right. Just make sure you have food.
Or unless you're Josh, who's actually a doctor. So there you go.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. He's a legend on and off the field.
Right.
So I guess that takes us right into the spaces. So the WSOP Summer Series is back. Summer camp is underway.
Hell yeah.
And do you have a schedule this year? My schedule's dicey if I'm going to be able to play this year. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't answer that question, did I?
That's okay.
I typically, usually by now, I have sort of a framework of what I'm going to do. And I have I try to choose or put on my calendar 2 or 3 events every day that I'm going to be there. And then the night before, there are some, yes, I'm definitely playing those tournaments, but typically that's only 2 or 3. And the rest of them are the night before.
Right.
What time are they starting? Am I too tired to get up for a 9 o'clock start? Maybe I need a 1 o'clock start tomorrow.
Maybe. Right.
Or am I taking the day off tomorrow, right? And, we can't forget to take time off. It makes us
100%.
better when we take our time
100%.
off. And so I will probably play the WSOP Ladies event. I will probably play the ladies warm-up event at the WSOP, which is not on the normal schedule. You have to find it in the fine print on the bottom of the WSOP schedule. It's $150 buy-in on June 24th. I think last year we had like 175. I actually came in second place in that tournament last year, and it was kind of funny because I never typically play poker on the day I travel, but that day I went. Yeah, I'm just too tired and I'm trying to get sorted and it's just too much. I mean, there's poker the next day, honestly. But that day I had taken a little nap and I was like, maybe I'll late reg. Let's see. And sure enough, I late reg with like 15 minutes left and I end up in second place. So anyway, I highly recommend that tournament. Those are probably 2 that I would say that are musts, as well as I hope at least 2 of the 10 p.m. tournaments at South Point, just so all the gangs can meet up and play that tournament at 10 p.m. Because it's just a lot of fun when we do that.
That's what I hear,
right? And so hopefully 1 or 2 of those. Something at the Nugget for sure, because I just like what they're doing there. I don't like their rake, and everybody needs to be aware of the rakes that are around Vegas. Definitely check on that when you're making your decisions. I know the Nuggets rake is high, but I just like to play at that poker room at least once or twice and during their series. So anyway, that's about where I'm at right now. As a matter of fact, I need to, I haven't even gotten my ticket home yet. I haven't even decided how long I'm staying. I'm booked there through July the 1st, but I'm thinking about booking maybe till the 4th of July because I'll probably get a better airline ticket price home.
Right.
So I need to figure that out probably today or tomorrow. That's on my list. But go ahead.
Love it. So with all that being said, you're talking about rake, you're talking about the WSOP being back in full swing. You have a daily show you're doing on Spaces, which you asked me to be a part of, and I'm going to do my best to be a part of it every day that I can.
Of
Which I
course.
appreciate you asking me to be a guest co-host or whatever you need me for throughout
I
that
appreciate you
Spaces.
stepping up and saying you would. And anytime you can give us, I appreciate. I think that rotating people in and out helps
It
because
does.
people work,
Yeah.
and it's 53 days of coverage. And
It's a lot.
so,
Yeah.
you
It
know,
is.
not everybody's as crazy as me or has the time that you can do that daily
No.
coverage. And so
I think
I'm
it's
very
great.
conscientious, right?
I think it's great. You're bringing awareness to WSOP tournaments, tournaments that are happening around town. You got rate conversations, food conversations, burlesque shows, where you can find a dispensary, uh, taxis, Ubers. I
I'm
mean,
getting my glasses on because I pulled out a couple of lists that I've made for tomorrow. So the hot topics for tomorrow, which are some of the things I try to cover every day, just to give information about different things like helicopter
yeah.
rides, zip lines was today, and like you said, dispensaries the other day. So tomorrow's three topics
Let's hear it.
are going to be strip clubs in Las Vegas. I should put it in your text.
You're gonna
Wedding
you're gonna have
chapels.
150 people show up
In case,
tomorrow.
yeah, right. In case you fall in love at the strip joint, you can go to one of the wedding chapels
Oh my gosh!
tomorrow. And last but not least, if you are that big of a sinner, we're going to discuss churches and cemeteries.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. That
So
is a
prepare,
good
people.
that is a good three combo. That is a good three combo. So the hot topics tomorrow on Sherry's WSOP Spaces. Like I said, she talks about like once they come to final, the tournament's ending. She'll talk about the results. She's talking about the tournaments that are going on, but she's also talking about what's going around town. So tomorrow's topics, you heard it: strip clubs, chapels, churches.
And synagogues. Don't forget. So tune
Yeah.
in, people.
Oh, that's great. So
Uh,
that's
well,
great.
and I'm going to tell you that the Daily Show,
I think it's
Brian,
great.
Software Brian, and I started him in 2023, and we did them again last year. And unfortunately, Brian had to kind of duck out of it because of his real life just got in the way. And so he was hoping to be with us this summer, and still hopeful that he's going to be able to at least drop in from time to time. And you and ASG and Karen Chess and Rick O'Connor and
Isaac.
who am I forgetting? I'm forgetting something.
Isaac.
Oh, Isaac, thank you.
Yeah.
Are all pitching in to co-host. Brandon's going to come in and give us some information on some topics, and I think there's one other person I'm missing. Oh, and I mentioned software.
Yeah.
And of course, anybody can join in. If you want to come in and tell us about a place you went for dinner that was amazing or sucked, either way,
Right.
come tell us, right?
Yeah.
We want to hear about it. If you heard some gossip
Right.
or uh, uh, whatever, come talk to us. If you're in Vegas and you're playing, or you just got out of a tournament, or you're on the way to a tournament, come tell us about it. We want to know what's going on in your poker life, what you're doing in Vegas, what you can recommend, not recommend. Yeah, stop by, pull on up, let us know what you're doing.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. No, I like the whole concept of it, keeping people informed, what's going on. A lot of people are traveling. The majority of people are traveling, I should say. May not know the ins and outs of where to, maybe even just how to save a buck. Like don't
Right.
get, there's nice little places you can eat at that are expensive. If it's things to do, and
And
so I
we
think it's
even
a great
talked
show.
about transportation the other
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Some free
Yep.
places that had free shuttles
Oh,
that
that's right.
people didn't know about.
Me neither.
Um,
Yeah, I didn't know some of
the
those
flat
places.
rates of taxis that some may not have known about. And so
Right.
we try to touch on a lot of different things
I think
in
it's great.
hopes that we help everybody with something, right?
Right.
Hopefully, there's some information each listener is gathering from us that will help them make their experience in Vegas better.
And so every day, 9 a.m., right? Is that correct?
9 a.m. Vegas time or Pacific time. Yes, sir.
Every day,
Every
9
day,
a.m. So
7 days a week.
7 days a week. So make sure you guys tune in. Again, I have her socials here in the chat. Please let me pin it back up to
Thank
the
you.
top.
Appreciate that.
No problem. Um, you have her Twitter account in there or X account. For some reason, I can't stop saying Twitter. I don't know.
And honestly, I think either's acceptable. I honestly, I wouldn't even think about it. Whatever comes out,
Yeah.
and everybody knows what the hell you're talking about.
Right,
So
right.
don't sweat it.
And make sure you guys
Honestly,
follow her YouTube channel as well.
thank you.
All right, I think we're kind of wrapping up here. I have a couple more questions for you. What's up, Allograft? Appreciate you being in here. Is this still Twitter? He says it is still Twitter. He approves as well.
There you go.
So let's do plans. Like what do you have in your mind? Not just schedule, but like plans. What do you want to do moving forward with whether it's your spaces or your YouTube channel? You know, what do you have? What's next for you?
Honestly, I kind of like exactly where I'm at.
Okay.
Last year, I had somebody really hot and furiously trying to get me to go the YouTube and Twitch route. And I'm going to tell you something. I love the uniqueness of spaces. I love that we can go live and have a up to the minute conversation on any topic happening now or happened a week ago.
Right.
And we can have an open conversation with people around the world, getting perspectives from different
It's
people
true.
from everywhere.
It's true.
I just love that. I am at the point in my life that I am comfortable in life. I am not like, this is not my ticket anywhere. I'm already
Right.
there. I'm not looking for anything more than let's continue to do good things for the poker
Love it.
world.
I absolutely love it.
And whatever road that takes me on, I'm willing to go. Do I want 10 million followers? Only if they want to come listen to my daily show on Spaces. I mean, I'm really so good in that space, so to speak, that I'm good. Like, I love helping get people off the ground. I support everybody. It doesn't matter your level of play. If you're new, old, if
Right.
you play a $20 tournament or a $20,000 tournament, I'm going to support you. I'm going to try to bring you up, whatever that is in your world. And that makes me happy to
I
help
like it.
others. And for me, the gratification just comes from thanks, Sherry. Appreciate you doing that. That helped me a lot. Love
Love it.
that. That is just like right up my alley. Like I said, I'm where I'm at and comfortable in life. That I'm not, here to collect money for myself or, like some people are. I lose money every time I host a meetup game. People laugh at me when I say that, but I do. Why? Because I buy stuff to give away in the splash the pots, or
Right. Right.
I give everybody. Had some chips made, so everybody gets a marker, a card marker for attending the meetup game. I literally lose money every meetup game, and it's okay. Like, I just love poker. I'm trying to make sure that I continue to be a good ambassador of the game, promote the game, do things in a positive light for the game. So that's where I'm at. And I'm good with that for the rest of my life, whether I'm in spaces 6 months, 6 years, or 6 minutes.
Right.
It is what it is.
I
But
really
I
like
love
that.
the Daily Show. I love when we're all together.
Yeah, I love it. It's great. It's great. I think you're doing great things. Keep doing what you're doing. You know, keep it moving. I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it.
Thank you.
One maybe like deep question for the game. It's kind of like the what's the, I don't know. It's like the big question. But I don't know if it's a black and white answer that anybody one person can give. But what do you think as a community we could do to continue to grow the game? Um, you know, uh, I think that we're a little short in a couple things that I think could really make a difference in the trajectory of poker. But what do you think? What do you think we could do as a whole community that can continue to grow the game? Maybe just maybe one pain point you think as a whole that we're missing, or what do you think?
Well, I think the sooner people recognize that it's each and every one of ours responsibility to be a good steward of the game will grow. And when I say that, I mean, how do you behave at the table? How do you treat other people? How do you treat the dealer? When the dealer's struggling, do you offer help or do you ridicule or do you snap at them? I call it the Mike Sexton effect. I think he was the best ambassador of our game because he was always a
Walter. Yeah.
gentleman. He was firm and by the book, but he always did it in in a gentlemanly way. And it's sort of like a kid that does wrong. You can tap them on the hand and they're corrected and you're on your merry way, or you can yell and scream and they do it again, right? Because they didn't get the message. So let's all be good ambassadors of the game, encourage people, teach people, don't be gatekeepers. Like if somebody is struggling at a table, like, all right, for instance, I have had, uh-oh, your mic is still on. I'm sorry, but did anybody else think that was funny besides
My
me?
goodness. Can you guys hear them screaming in the background? I was like, oh my gosh.
Honestly, I couldn't hear it. Maybe others could. That was
Man.
funny. Thank you
Either
for
way.
that reality check. But you know, so many people are like, well, you're at the table and there's a newbie at the table. Don't tap the glass. Like we want their chips. Okay. Um, but that's okay while the game's going on. But
Yeah,
what's wrong with walking up to that newbie after the game and
absolutely.
say, hey, can we chat for a minute? I'd like to help you with your poker. And that to me is being a good ambassador of the game. And more of us that do that, the game will grow.
I
And
agree.
guess what? That person's still going to be a newbie and you're still going to be able to get that person's chips, right? But you're also growing the game by reaching out and trying to help them with their game.
Right.
So be a good ambassador of the game, I think, is really um, one huge thing all of us can do.
Yeah, I agree. Mike Sexton, absolute legend. Uh, One of the truest, most definitions of, you say, the ambassador of the game. I think he absolutely defines that 100%. I think I think you brought out some really good points. I think that I really like to see back on, it doesn't have to be ESPN, but I'd like to see. I know CBS is getting back involved, but I'd like to see it really get pick up momentum with some major media network. Josh just said more media, more coverage. I think this is a huge pain point right now, and you want to bring eyes to the game. I think those things are honestly critical. You need media and
They
coverage.
are very critical.
Yeah.
And I can't help but think sometimes that even gatekeeping is happening to some extent on that front. Because if you think about who's covering poker the most, it is a gate kept community,
Right.
so to speak.
Right.
Um, I mean, it really is at no fault of anyone's. It
Right.
just is how it's come about. And so I do think more coverage would be better. And of course, something back on ESPN would be the best
Yeah.
just because that audience is definitely a target audience for us
Absolutely.
because you also pull in the sports bettors and the poker players
One
and
hundred percent.
so on and so forth. So 100% going back on ESPN would definitely help us
Yeah.
grow the game. But there are millions of us poker players, and our word of mouth can grow that game too in a positive way. So keep posting stuff on Facebooks, whatever, Instagram,
Yeah.
whatever your mode of operation is, positive stuff. Yeah, I point out negative stuff as well.
Yeah.
But if you look at my feeds, 98% of what I do is all positive reinforcement, congratulating winners,
100%.
congratulating our female winners because, there are far and few between. And so we have to celebrate each other, celebrate everybody.
I
And that is going
100%
to bring
agree.
attention to our community in a positive way. And
Right.
people want to join a positive community.
Yeah. I've had nothing but Yeah, I should say nothing in general, I've had just a very fortunate path of the people I've crossed paths with in poker. It really is an amazing community. It's tight knit, and Josh says you got to make the game more welcome environment. He says we definitely need more coverage on some ladies events, and he's about to get knees deep and he wants to get involved. And again, you talk about ambassador of the game. He's definitely defines that as well, and I can't wait to see what he's got going on. I want you to keep doing what you're doing, and yeah, for all of us that are out there that love the game and are still going to be involved, anything you could do just to make the game more inviting, do that. And
Absolutely.
I got one last fun topic, sort of. Yeah,
Sure.
it's a fun topic, and then we'll wrap.
Right deal.
Fantasy drafts. What is your take on the fantasy drafts? Do you have a team?
All right.
Uh,
Now we're talking. You would not believe how much time I spent with ASG over the last 48
I
hours
love it.
on fantasy teams.
I love
Okay,
it.
so
I gotta
I'm
look.
just
I gotta pull up my team. Hold on.
okay, I've got to pull it out here. Okay, so first of all, ASG and I were trying to brainstorm how we could do our own spaces draft. So
Okay.
we could allow people, 20, 30, whatever amount of people, draft a team and do it straight from the scratch, right? You get
Right.
a $200 budget, we're going to draft spaces teams. Well, we talked about it and went around and around, and it really came down to there's no way we could track
Yeah.
the points um, in a efficient way, and nobody wants to do it by hand. That's a
Right.
lot
Right.
of points to track, right? And so during the conversation I said to him, well, why don't I just own a team? I'm the OD Baker League.
Oh, well, that's a good.
Why don't I just own a team?
Right. Right.
And then
Right.
I can get like 9 other people. There could be 10 of us, and we'll just own a team together. It'd be $52 and 50 cents each.
Right.
And if this works this year, then maybe next year we could draft multiple teams. Like I'll just open it up for everybody, whoever wants to
That's
get on a
cool.
team, and we can have like 6 spaces teams, whatever. But this year we're just going to do one team. And I hope nobody's feelings got hurt, because honestly, I just made a list of people in no order, and I just started going down the list. And once I
Yeah.
got 9 people, I stopped,
Right.
uh, because that was what was good for my time frame,
Yeah.
right? And so there are 10 of us that have bought an OD Baker team.
That's awesome.
And
What's your
of
team name?
course, okay, so our team is Team Spacers.
Oh, I
Da,
like
da,
it.
da,
Okay.
da, we're actually breaking that news here.
Oh, what? The team
Yes, we are.
spacers. All
Team
right.
Spacers. And I'm going to tell you who is on our team.
All
And
right.
that's going to be breaking news too. How about
Let's
that?
hear it. I love it.
Okay, so we have, in no particular order,
Okay.
we have Ben Lamb.
Okay.
We
Love
have
Ben Lamb.
Brian Rast.
Love Brian Rast.
We have Big Hooney.
Big hoodie.
We have John Racenier.
Oh, he's a good pick.
We have Robert Mizraki.
That's another good one.
We have Stephen Song. We have Andrew Lichtenberger.
Lucky
And
Chewy.
we have Andrew Moreno. And our bonus player is Mormon.
Oh, I don't know how Chris Moorman. I was wondering why wasn't he? I didn't see him on the regular roster.
Right. So how's that for a bonus
That's a
player?
hell of a pick. Deb, so what's
So,
so I noticed I can tell what you did because my strategy was different and I went for home runs and value and I could tell what you guys did is you attacked the middle section of the price points and just stacked up there. Um,
right. And you have to remember that Brian Rast and Racenier were the top, Racenier was top, was number 2 in points getting last year. Rast was number 7. Big Hooney was number 10 in getting points last year.
yeah, that and
You're
Ra-
my
and Racner is usually I think he's been in the mix of the POI the last like few years to be honest.
right. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. And Mormon, he's going to play live and online. So how can we not get points from him?
Right.
To me, that's a no-brainer for the bonus player. Honestly, I mean, I haven't, talked to anybody else that's drawn up any teams that's mentioned his name.
Yeah, I like
Now
it.
for my poker org team,
Okay.
I did Racenier, Yaki,
I like Yaki.
Misfaraki,
Yep.
Shannon Shore, who's been on fire this spring, Andrew Moreno, Andrew Lichtenberger, Joe Cotta, and Jeremy Becker.
So,
No, 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 no. That's the wrong one. Sorry.
okay.
I had actually six choices. That's not the team I did for Poker Org. I'm sorry. Wrong one. Let's try this again. I did Robert Mizraki,
Okay.
Shannon Shore, Stephen Song, Ben Lamb, Chris, Big Hooney, Ari Engel, John Racenier, and Jason Kuhn. That's
That's
my
good.
Poker Org
That's
team.
good. That's good. So there
Who did you do?
some of those names came across that I really liked. There's a couple names that I did not make my team that I really wanted. I really liked Ari Engel. I really liked um, Jeff Madsen. He hasn't been super involved like lately, like over the last like
I
5 years.
wondered how his schedule was going to be.
But he's been ramping back up, and he just came
Right.
out a somebody if in the chat if you guys can help me out. He was just recently in a one of the productions, like the poker documentaries that was come out the last few years, and he's talked about it that he's going to be playing a lot more, I saw him cards in the air on day one, so I was like, okay, man, I think this guy's going to play, and he's good at everything. Um, he was pretty cheap, but let me just tell you. My original team was Yuri Zivodziski, Joe Cotta, Brian Hastings, Brian Rast, Ethan Yao, which is Rampage, Martin Zamani, David Baker, and Jeff Madsen. David Baker, I had Bakes, not ODB.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
ODB was pretty expensive. So Joe Cotta, I bailed on. I don't think he really plays much of a schedule anymore. But when he was playing, I
Well,
mean,
and I wondered if he
he was
was going
POI.
to.
Yeah,
I was wondering if he was going to take off this summer because he has been kind of in the background, and I
right.
really kind of feel like he might take off this summer, like really have a big schedule. It's going to be interesting to see what he does.
Yeah, so I made some changes, and I really like Zamani for $2 because he's a mixed game player, and he's gonna probably have a pretty full schedule. I don't think he's gonna play high rollers necessarily, but I
Right.
imagine he's gonna be out there grinding, and so for $2, I liked him. David Peters, I didn't expect him to be playing much, but from what I heard through the grapevine, him and Haley are going to be playing. I figure with the new baby, they might not have much of a schedule, but another mixed game
Right, but
player
he
as
just
well.
had a big win over at Titan, so
Yeah,
they're hiring a babysitter.
yeah. So I like David Peters for $3. I'm going with Mike Matisow. I think ASG says Zamani might not be play high rollers, but he'll be rolling and high.
This is true. We can all agree on that point of view for sure.
If Martin Zamani, if you're out there, I'm sure he'll laugh if he heard that.
If nothing else, he'll be pushing that frog poison. But go ahead.
Yeah. So Mike Matisow, I think he's got a point to prove this year. I think he's gonna have a good summer. I really do. I don't know how
Well,
full
and I
his
hope
schedule
he
is gonna
does.
be,
The
but
everybody's worry about Mike is that
health.
he won't feel good and can't play
Yeah.
tournaments, of course. And of course we want him to because he's one of the legends in poker and we want to see him at the table for sure. So a
Right.
$3 buy for yeah, he was definitely on my radar, but I just had some other people I thought were
Right.
more important. So
Right. And then I have David Bakes Baker on my team. And then I have Andrew Moreno for $1 as well, which, if you guys don't know, that is, oh, geez, what's his name?
Johnny Vibes,
Johnny
brother.
Vibes. Thank you, Johnny Vibes.
You're welcome.
So I got two content creators. I got some lowball price point that I think have value. My home run hitters, I have Yuri Zelzinski. He is my number one candidate for Player of the Year this year. So
Okay.
I got Yuri.
All
He
right.
plays high rollers. He plays mixed games. Uh, he he plays everything at an extremely high level.
All
Uh,
right. And for those that don't know Andrew Moreno, I interviewed him. You can go listen to that interview on my YouTube
he's
channel.
awesome.
He's an awesome player,
Very nice guy.
an even
Very
better
nice guy.
person. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
my
And love him.
And my last player is Alex Foxen. So I went heavy with Yuri and Alex Foxen. Um,
You know,
and
his wife earned more points than him last year, right?
it's funny. I almost grabbed her. I went back and forth and back and forth, but I went back and looked at like the POIs. He's just like always in the mix. Like for the last like 5 years, he like
This is
seems to be
true.
like always in the top.
But right
So
now, she's been
she's
hotter
been
than
on
him.
fire. She's been on fire. She was on my original team that I built, but all in all, who knows how it goes?
Well,
But
good
I'm
luck to
excited.
you.
Good luck to you
I
as
am
well.
too. I'm telling you what, ASG and I've been having a blast the last 48 hours
Just
trying to get
building
the
it,
411 on who's playing what. Are they in a
right?
full schedule? Who's having a baby? They're not going to be there. And,
Right.
it's been
It's been
amazing
fun.
and so
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. I had Blesnik on my roster until I seen that he posted a couple days ago that he's not going to be playing much. I was like, he would have been like a nice cheap ad because he plays the high
Right.
rollers. He plays mixed games. Uh, but anyhow, really appreciate everybody being here. I'm gonna run through the chat real quick just to give them a shout out.
Appreciate you
Who
guys
is
joining us for
here?
sure.
Salem, Mojo, Medi, ASG, Big Lebowski, Chief U. Snoop was in here earlier. First time chatter, Big Lebowski. Appreciate you. If you haven't done so already, hit the follow. I got Sherry's links in here. Make sure you guys follow her on Twitter and X, YouTube as well. I can't thank you enough, Sherry, for doing this. This was fun, and I
Thank
appreciate what
you.
you're doing. You have any closing words, and we'll wrap.
Well, I appreciate you and you asking me to do this interview for sure. We always have fun when we're talking poker, whether it be on a space and on your broadcast here or just on the telephone. We always have fun, and I love your passion because you love poker just like I do. And for those of you that have tuned in, I appreciate that. I know Brad does too. Um, we do this because we love it, but it's also nice to know that other people are enjoying it and we're not kind of spinning our wheels for no reason. Just because we love it, doesn't mean everybody does.
Right, right.
We do it because we do love it.
That's true.
Um, and good luck this summer. Please stop by the morning spaces and let us know what you're up to. I appreciate each and every one of you. God bless.
I love it. 9 a.m. every morning. Tune in on her Twitter channel, June 21st, 1 p.m. Bellagio 5th Official Spaces Meetup game. Be there or be square. Appreciate y'all for being here today. Love y'all. We're out. And stay with me just for a second, Sherry.